We got Picflow 525% increase on signups without the need to increase their traffic. And the reason why that worked is probably the reason why your SaaS SEO doesn't work. The traffic looked fine, but the people landing on the site, they weren't ready to buy. They were getting about 1,800 clicks per month just from SEO alone, and at first glance that doesn't look like a disaster, but their signups were absolutely flat. So the real question wasn't about how do we get more traffic, it's how do we convert the existing traffic. Just a bit of context here, so Picflow is a client gallery platform. It's built specifically for photographers and creative professionals. It's almost like a Dropbox, but for creatives who care about their brand presentation. They have clean galleries, client proofing, and all the download management you'd expect. So what was the actual problem? The market is very competitive. They had big players with significantly more domain authority, more content, and pretty much just more of everything. But Picflow had a better product. But even when you've got a mint product, you don't automatically win search. That takes proper graft and a really good strategy. So when they reached out to us, the first thing that we did is not create new content. That's the mistake that most agencies make. We did a conversion analysis because they managed to get traffic, but it wasn't the right in traffic. And when we did that, what we found was genuinely surprising. Picflow had pages that were converting above the average rates. And what we did find was they had tons of traffic from free converter tools. So we asked the basic questions: if we stripped out all the no intent traffic, what would be left? And in this case, there was very little, and that's why there was little signups, because all of their traffic, all of their conversions were using free tools. And here's the insight: the people who are going to use Picflow's product, they're not going to be searching for free image converter. They're searching for things like best pixie set alternatives. They're looking at comparing options, or Picflow versus Sprout Studio, or even client gallery software for photographers. These type of searches attract people in mid-decision. They're ready to purchase a product, but they're just evaluating which is best. And the issue was that Picflow had zero assets targeting this type of intent. So we fixed that and we started to target money keywords. And within 3 months, we got our client on page 1, as you can see here. And that's the whole point of good SEO strategy, is finding that gap and where you can edge your way in. Because we were up against big players here. So to do this, you had to have real strategic insight. But I'm going to give you the framework here, which you can implement yourself. But if you don't want to go through the framework, you can click the link in the description below and book a free strategy call with our team. So the first thing that you want to look is what we called Revenue-First SEO. And if it's an existing site with loads of assets and decent traffic, what you want to do is you want to look at a conversion analysis report. You want to pull out your data, highlight which pages are converting, then figure out why. Look at what type of page it is, what it's targeting, what intent, is it top of funnel or is it bottom of funnel, and how that's tied to the buyer's journey. If you skip this stage, you'll be building on actual guesses and you'll have to then A/B test and figure it out later down the line. So if you do have data, make sure you pull it, get into the numbers and identify what's working and most importantly, what's not working as well. Then level 2 is moving on to commercial intent. This is a non-obvious one, right? But most strategies put about 80 to 90% on informational content and around 10% on commercial. And we don't operate like that. We target commercial keywords and focus on all of the bottom funnel. And these aren't glamorous topics with high search volume, but they're the ones that bring in the signups that you need for your SaaS. So these could be honest competitor alternative pages, product roundups, and featured deep dives, targeting buyers in evaluation mode. Then you want to move on to on-page optimization. All your existing pages, this is where you're going to have your quick wins. You'll see things instantly and it gives you a good format to test upon, because if you are creating new content, it takes a while to index and then you're going to have to wait to get the data. But your existing pages, this is where you can see the shifts within 30 days. You're going to be optimizing your metadata, your meta title, your description, what shows up in the SERP. You're going to be looking at your on-page, which will be your H1, your H2s, and definitely your FAQs. Make sure that it's targeting the keyword, it's answering the questions that they want within the snippet at the top. And also make sure you've got strong internal linking. And if you've got pillar pages, make sure your clusters are supporting and clearly hierarchical with breadcrumbs as well. And that is the next step really, the internal linking. You want to make sure it's strategic. A lot of people just create a page and then they'll scan through the page itself, find words to think, oh, that relates to this, we'll then link it through. Before you create your content, it's very important that you want to map out, okay, this is our core page, the pillar, these are our clusters, and this is how we want to interlink to strengthen the pillar page so you've got topical authority. So Google and algorithms, they know that, right? Okay, this company here, they target that topic in such coverage. And that's why, because they have a pillar page, they have so many clusters, and it's all supporting a structure showing clear hierarchy. And before you sign off your strategy, you want to be doing three things. You want to validate first. For your target keywords, you want to be checking what's showing up in a SERP. So just go into Google, put in your keyword, and see what type of pages show up. As you can see here, our client Picflow is showing up here, and it's an alternative. It's a pricing alternatives. But for yourself, you want to be looking for them green lights. What page type is showing up, and you want to replicate that and make sure that yours is aligned. Then obviously the next check, look at your existing page. Whatever is bringing the highest conversion, whatever is driving signups, that's your validation point as well to double down on that type of content. And number three, you want to be looking at competitor gaps. Where are your competitors weak? Where do they have generic content and lack depth? That's where you want to focus, and that's what we did for Picflow. And only after them 3 steps, that's when we started to produce content for the client. And here's the loop that compounded. Better content attracted better users, which resulted in more conversions, stronger site authority, higher rankings, and more traffic. It all compounds, and that's the beauty of SEO. And for compounding, that's why you need to dial in on your topical authority. I know I mentioned it briefly earlier, but you really want to make sure you've got solid structure for this. Because as you build topical depth, search engines will trust you more and more and more. And that lifts all related pages. And if you do have informational and commercial pages, all of this will work together, and that's when your SEO starts working like a system. And the results that we got using that approach for Picflow were insane. Within 2 years, we had a 525% increase in signups. Conversions increased by 462%. That's over 1,100 qualified signups within the year. The average conversion rate was at 6.5%. And just in terms of Google, that's usually sitting around 2 to 3%. And the top performing pages were at a staggering 11%. And on top of that, we increased their domain rating by 20 points. And this isn't just a one-off for one SaaS client, we've done it for many. For this betting software SaaS, we 29x'd within 12 months. Everybody's using AI these days, and they want their business to be cited. We've helped multiple SaaS own their category searches. This client here had 924,000 citations just via LLMs alone. So if you want results like this, click the link in the description below and book a call with our team, and we'll map out your quick wins and your strategy so you can start driving signups. And if you're just browsing and you want to know more about AI optimization, you might want to check out this video here.